The headlines are stark and alarming. Chinese Coast Guard fires water cannon at Philippine supply vessel. This is not just a headline, it's a snapshot of the escalating tensions that have gripped the South China Sea, a region where every incident reverberates far beyond the waves. In another flashpoint, a Vietnamese fishing boat is rammed near a disputed shoal, its hull splintered in contested waters. These are not isolated events, but part of a growing pattern of maritime confrontations. These are not just stories, they're the drumbeats of rising tension in the South China Sea, where every standoff, every close call, adds to a mounting sense of unease. Picture a rusted Philippine supply ship, braving relentless waves and unpredictable weather to reach the BRP Sierra Madre, a grounded warship that stands as both a supply outpost and a symbol of Manila's unwavering resolve to defend its claims. Suddenly, a massive Chinese Coast Guard cutter looms into view, its horns blaring through the salty air. Without warning, a powerful jet of water slams into the smaller supply boat, a calculated show of force meant to intimidate and deter in these fiercely contested waters. This is reality, not fiction. These confrontations have become dangerously routine, with regular patrols and near-daily encounters between rival vessels. Crews, Filipino, Vietnamese, Chinese, live on edge, their nerves frayed by the constant threat of escalation. For them, a single misstep, a misunderstood signal, could spark a wider conflict that no one truly wants. The South China Sea is a tinderbox, and every aggressive maneuver, every close pass, is a spark that could ignite something far larger. Each incident, each near collision, pushes the region closer to a point of no return. The risk of miscalculation grows with every encounter. The world watches, anxious and alert, because what happens here doesn't just affect the countries involved, it has the potential to disrupt global trade, security, and stability. The stakes are immense, not just for the countries bordering these waters, but for the entire global community. The South China Sea is a vital artery for international shipping, and any conflict here could send shockwaves through the world economy. On board, sailors and fishermen are just trying to do their jobs, deliver supplies, catch fish, follow orders, and provide for their families. Yet their daily routines are overshadowed by the ever-present threat of confrontation. These civilians, far from the halls of power, are thrust onto the front lines of a geopolitical struggle that is not of their making. Their livelihoods, and sometimes their lives, hang in the balance. The psychological toll is heavy. Every day could bring confrontation, and the stress is etched on the faces of those who work these waters. The uncertainty is constant, the anxiety palpable. This is the new normal: intimidation, resistance, and the constant threat of escalation. The cycle repeats, with each side unwilling to back down. It's a high-stakes drama, rising power versus smaller neighbors, with each encounter underscoring the stark imbalance of power at sea. The Philippines and Vietnam operate within their internationally recognized exclusive economic zones, patrolling waters that the world acknowledges as theirs. Yet, China asserts sweeping historical claims, redrawing boundaries, and challenging the status quo. This fundamental disagreement, over history, law, and sovereignty, is the heart of the conflict. Negotiations are tense, and compromise seems elusive. Without clear rules of engagement or effective communication, these dangerous encounters will only escalate. The lack of coordination increases the risk of accidental clashes. The cycle of provocation and response makes peaceful resolution harder, and a violent clash more likely with each passing day. The world cannot afford to ignore the warning signs. Diplomats and leaders are scrambling for solutions, but time may be running out. The South China Sea stands on the brink, a flashpoint where the next move could determine the fate of a region, and perhaps the world. Why does the world care so deeply about a stretch of water thousands of miles from most of our homes? What makes this region so critical that headlines around the globe follow every development? The South China Sea is the planet's economic artery, a vital channel connecting east and west, north and south. Every year, 1/3 of global shipping, over $3 trillion worth of goods, passes through these waters. From electronics and cars to food and clothing, the world's essentials travel this route. Any disruption here would shatter supply chains, spike prices, and halt industries worldwide. Factories could grind to a halt, store shelves could empty, and economies could falter. For Japan, South Korea, and Taiwan, the South China Sea is a lifeline, delivering the energy and raw materials that power their industries and keep their cities running. The U.S. Navy patrols these waters to keep shipping lanes open, sending a message that the high seas belong to all nations, not just a few. Beneath the waves lie vast reserves of oil and gas, billions of barrels of oil and trillions of cubic feet of natural gas, resources that could fuel economies for generations. For developing nations, tapping these resources could mean energy independence, new jobs, and a path to prosperity. For China, they're vital for sustaining growth, meeting the demands of its massive population, and securing its future. The sea's rich fisheries feed millions, providing protein and livelihoods, but overfishing and territorial conflict threaten to push these resources to the brink of collapse. For coastal communities, fishing isn't just a job, it's survival. Yet, the escalating fight for control puts their way of life and centuries-old traditions at risk. The struggle here is about more than territory. It's about resources, livelihoods, and the delicate balance of global stability. Every nation with a stake in the sea has something to lose. The world's prosperity, security, and future truly float on these contested waters, making the South China Sea the most vital waterway on Earth. The South China Sea is a maze of overlapping claims: China, Vietnam, the Philippines, Malaysia, Brunei, and Taiwan. China's 9-dash line covers nearly 90% of the sea, cutting into its neighbors' exclusive economic zones. This clash of claims fuels real dangerous confrontations. Blockades, rammings, and harassment at sea. China's land reclamation has turned reefs into military outposts, shifting the balance of power. Other nations respond by strengthening alliances and modernizing their navies. The result, a cycle of militarization and distrust. Gray zone tactics, coercive but just short of war, keep tensions high. Every move to boost security is seen as a threat, escalating the standoff. The region grows less safe with each passing year. Amid rising tension, nations seek a diplomatic solution, a code of conduct or COC. It's not a treaty to settle disputes, but a set of rules to manage them and prevent conflict. The COC would set protocols for communication, safe maneuvers, and limits on military activities. ASEAN wants a binding code with real enforcement. China prefers a voluntary approach. The code's scope, what areas it covers, and whether it includes outside powers, remains hotly debated. Negotiations are slow with every word contested. The challenge, crafting rules all sides can accept and that actually keep the peace. The COC's main goal is to prevent conflict in a region bristling with warships. It could establish hotlines, joint patrols, and clear rules for encounters at sea. These steps build trust and make aggressive acts easier to identify and punish. Stability benefits everyone. Shipping, fishing, and energy industries thrive when the sea is predictable. Decades of mistrust can't be erased overnight, but negotiating a COC is a vital first step. Implementing it would signal a real commitment to peace. The code won't solve every dispute, but it can create space for dialogue and cooperation. In Southeast Asia, cooperation is essential for lasting peace and prosperity. The United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, UNCLOS, is the legal bedrock for the South China Sea. Nearly every regional country, including China, has signed it. UNCLOS defines exclusive economic zones and rights to resources. The COC must align with UNCLOS to be legitimate. In 2016, an international tribunal ruled against China's 9-dash line, affirming the Philippines' rights. China rejected the ruling, but it remains legally binding. Smaller states want the COC to reinforce UNCLOS principles. China resists some interpretations. The challenge, a code that upholds international law and is acceptable to all. The South China Sea is a biodiversity hotspot, but disputes are destroying its fragile ecosystem. Island building has buried coral reefs, causing irreversible damage. A COC could include commitments to protect the environment and ban destructive fishing. Millions depend on these waters for food and income, but fishermen face harassment and shrinking catches. The code could safeguard traditional fishing rights and stabilize tourism and energy investment. Environmental cooperation can build trust, even as disputes persist. A healthy sea benefits everyone, ecologically and economically. The COC is a chance to turn conflict into shared stewardship. Negotiating a COC is slow and fraught with obstacles. ASEAN wants a binding code. China resists limits on its actions. The code's scope, enforcement, and dispute resolution are all contentious. ASEAN's consensus model means a single holdout can stall progress. Not all ASEAN members share the same interests. Some are claimants, others are closer to China. US-China rivalry complicates talks, as both seek influence over the outcome. The process demands political will, creativity, and compromise. The stakes: peace or perpetual tension. Time is running out. Every second that passes brings us closer to a tipping point in the South China Sea, where tensions simmer just beneath the surface. The South China Sea grows more dangerous by the day, as rival navies and coast guards test each other's resolve, and local fishermen find themselves caught in the crossfire. One miscalculation, a single wrong move, could trigger a conflict with catastrophic global consequences, threatening not just regional peace, but the stability of the entire world. Without a binding code of conduct, might will make right, and smaller nations will suffer the most, their voices drowned out by the roar of larger powers. Trade, energy, and livelihoods are all at risk if instability prevails. The sea's resources, vital for millions, could become pawns in a dangerous game. The world's economy and security hinge on peace in these waters. Over a third of global shipping passes through here, making stability essential for everyone. A code of conduct won't solve every dispute overnight, but it's the best hope to manage tensions, build trust, and prevent war from breaking out. The international community must press for a meaningful agreement, one that is respected, enforced, and truly keeps the peace. The future of peace and prosperity in the Indo-Pacific depends on it. Generations to come will judge us by the choices we make today. The stakes are too high for failure. The cost of inaction could be measured in lost lives, shattered economies, and a region plunged into chaos. The urgent call for order at sea must be answered before it's too late and before the future slips through our fingers.